Hi, my name's Keira Kenworthy. I'm a professional bass player, content creator, and I'm self-proclaimed as the Mistress of Groove. I do session work for various bands. The artist that I'm associated with is Red Giant, the Troy Redfern band, Joan of Arc, Cyteria, and I'm also in an AC/DC tribute called Back in Black that's based in Switzerland. And I've also done a women's charity project with the Italian actress Valeria Altobelli called The Muses. I started playing music in my mid-teens, although music has been a part of my life ever since I was born. My dad used to be the drummer for a heavy metal band called Raven, so straight away that association with rhythm and the rhythm section came from my dad, although I wasn't a drummer. But I remember when growing up in the house, when it came to having instruments around the house, it was all bass guitars most of the time. But I really took it up in my mid-teens and started playing songs from my favorite artists at the time, and been continuing ever since. So I would say my inspirations would be James Jamerson, Jaco Pastorius, Carol Kay, Les Claypool, Victor Wooten, just to name a few. Artists and bands, I would say Frank Zappa is definitely a big influence. Deep Purple, Free as well, because I definitely rate Andy Fraser as a phenomenal bass player. So that's just to name a few of the artists that I look up to and have been inspired by. So when I started practicing bass, I did already have like an intention of doing it professionally, but to try and do it seriously as a career, you can't just put yourself in a corner. So when I started, yes, I did do songs of bands that I was listening to at the time as a teen. So my styles of music that I was listening to back in high school, new metal, glam metal, rock, that kind of thing. I think it was my dad that gave me a bit of prompting to look at other bass players, not just from rock or metal, but look at like the masters of the instrument, like Jaco and James Jamerson. And they were doing stuff like jazz fusion and soul, R&B. And you listen to the bass lines of that and you think, oh, they sound amazing. But also there's a lot of technique that goes into them. And one of the biggest things when you listen to those styles is you pick up on the feel of the music. It sounds wonderful, like very warm, and it gives you sort of an emotion when you hear those bass lines. And that was when I thought, right, I can't just do rock and metal. I need to start practicing stuff that's really going to build my skill up as a bass player. So that's when I started looking at doing a Jaco bass line. I think the first Jaco bass line I did was Come On, Come Over. And then I also looked at Norman Watt-Roy, who was the bass player for Ian Dury and the Blockheads, and I did Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick. That's one of the most difficult bass lines I did at the time. And I also got to meet the guy when he was performing with Wilco Johnson. And I did a video of it many, many years ago on YouTube. And he said I'm one of the few that actually did it correctly. I'm really pleased about that. It was also my audition piece for when I went to Leeds College of Music. So yeah, going back to challenging myself definitely helped me with doing it as a career. And I definitely advise people to, if you're going to take it seriously, you need to broaden your horizons when it comes to different genres and different styles. I think when it comes to choosing gear, it has got to be quality gear. Mark Bass I've used for a very long time because people have downsized their equipment. They don't want to carry massive rigs anymore. So Mark Bass was great because it was so light as a feather, but you got a really, really warm sound out of the amps. And when it comes to effects pedals, I never originally used them a lot, but I used them more in a texture sense rather than using them throughout the entire song. And my main go-to brand for pedals is Flatley, because I love the analog sound of the effects, and they're also beautifully aesthetically. And when it comes to strings, Rotosound I've known for many, many years. Even before I got this endorsement, I knew that they were quality strings. And they were actually, the idea of a string endorsement came to mind, those were the strings I used to put on my basses. Reason I choose to play with Rotosound is, first of all, it's a British company, and being a UK-based artist, it's close to my heart to use a company that comes from where I live. And also, if you were to think of string companies, I think the most revered is Rotosound, and I can think of so many artists that I know of who use them, and it doesn't matter whether they're UK based. Rotosound's reach is global because the quality of those strings are incredible. And definitely my go-to is the Swing 66 round strings. And probably the main ones that I'm using at the moment are the heavier gauge ones, because with a lot of the music that I do, tuning down a lot. I think a lot of people are now starting to go into drop D, go into E flat tuning, go into drop C tuning, and I've now learned to start using heavier gauge strings because of that, because it can take those kind of tunings a lot more. And even the lower you go, the more the clarity is still there. And I like the fact they're also quite bright and also quite versatile as well, because I don't just do rock and metal, and I do all sorts. And when I'm doing covers or when I'm doing anything that's funk based or soul, those strings are for any type of music. And I think that's good to have a company that isn't niche. It doesn't stick with just being a company for a particular style of music. It's for everyone. And I think that is so important to have as a company, especially one that has been around for a very long time. Where do I see myself in the future? Well, I want to expand my reach around the world. I'm very lucky that I have managed to gig internationally. I've played Thailand, Europe, Scandinavia. Although I've never yet performed in the United States. I'd love to perform in America, and I'd love to perform in Japan. I love traveling. I mean, that's one of the big perks of being a professional musician. It's given me the opportunity to travel to so many places, and I love traveling. And it's great that I'm in a band that is based in Europe, Back in Black, because it gave me the opportunity to do a lot of shows around Europe, Germany, the Netherlands, etc. And just really want to do a lot more with performing internationally. And again, still getting more opportunities. I love, regardless of what it is, I just love playing in general. I've done covers, I've done originals, I've done online videos, as well as teaching, and I just like to expand my reach with what I can do in my musical career. I would like to see myself doing regular touring, because even though I am gigging quite frequently, just to really get the experience of touring worldwide, because I've not yet done a proper international tour. Venues I'd like to play, well, going back to places I'd like to travel to, like the United States, I'd love to do the Whiskey A Go Go. Festival wise, I mean, there's quite a few festivals I'd love to do, such as Glastonbury, Wacken, and also the Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland. That would be a really cool festival to do. So I would like to thank Rotosound UK for this interview, and I would recommend people to try the Rotosound Swing 66 bass strings. These are my heavy gauge, great for my precision basses, great for your basses as well. Standard, heavy, whatever gauge you want, you get a bright sound. It's great for all styles of music. I highly recommend getting these. So have a good day, and bye-bye.